Hey everyone, welcome to the last day of Chicago. This is a 10-day crit series in the Chicago area. It's the race formerly known as Intelligentsia Cup. This year it's rebranded as Chicago Grit. It's a lot of the same courses. I think like 9 out of the 10 were the same as last year, or maybe only 8. Anyways, this is the last day. It's at Fulton Street Market in Chicago. This was the only one that was like actually properly in Chicago. It was in a pretty cool spot. There was a lot of like shops and restaurants on the one side of it, and then this backstretch here was underneath the train tracks, which was kind of neat. It made the GPS all wonky, but it was a cool little spot downtown to race. This was the only day that was properly in Chicago too, so it was cool to actually be in Chicago. It's also one of the only days that was just a 4-corner rectangle crit. So we're on one of the short sides right now, some bumpy pavement there, but overall not too bad. And then that's corner 4 onto the home stretch. It's a long ways out of the last corner. It's ever so slightly uphill. There's these tiny brick sections at the intersections, which I thought were inconsequential, but we'll see in a second. They were pretty consequential. The laps were like 1.5 minutes, so they're on the short side. And it was looking like it could rain for our race, but it never actually did. So that's a full lap here. You're gonna see, this is like 6 to go. We had a pretty big crash right on the very front of the race. And I think it sounded like the first guy just overcooked it on the bricks in that corner. And when he went down, everybody behind him just couldn't get around it. So a lot of people went down in that crash. If you watch that back slowly, there's some dudes getting smushed into the chain link fence. I think there's broken collarbones. It was not a pretty crash. The few people that made it through it were all split up. And since it was at 6 to go, I didn't know if they were going to let everyone in or not. So I made a big effort to get back up to everyone just in case that like we were the remaining race. But it was enough people that they neutralized the race, which I kind of suspected would happen, but I didn't want to get caught out by it in any case, so I made the effort anyways. So we all stopped. They let everybody who could keep riding back in, and they restarted us on 5 to go. I got a pretty good start on like the second row, so I rode pretty aggressively to make sure I could stay at the front, even though that meant I made a couple of efforts with like 5 and 4 to go to help chase breaks and make sure that I could stay near the front. And so we just started 3 to go here, and I'm still trying to float wheels. There's been a few attacks. Nothing has gone for more than like 3 laps maybe. I tried a couple earlier in the race, but yeah, nothing was going. This course is just a little bit too fast. The main stretch was a little bit tight, but yeah, the rest of the course is very wide open, and the corners were pretty easy to blast through in the group. So it's looking like it's going to come down to a field sprint here. Everybody is starting to get a little bit antsy, and positioning is definitely important, but you can make up a lot of spots on this course. Especially, there's no big team, so you don't have to, there's not going to be a team taking over in the last couple laps that makes it impossible to move up. So I think, yeah, you can see there's like one guy taking a little flyer, and here comes some people from the back with momentum that are going to chase it down. I tried to like ease into this acceleration, I remember, so I let those couple of guys more in front of me because I didn't want to make a big move here with 2 to go. And just back in the group, still pretty close to the front, so I'm feeling good about the spot. This is definitely the best position I've been in so far for any of the Chicago Grit races. The previous couple days, I only went for the last 3 days of it, but the first 2 days didn't go quite as well as I was hoping for. So I was looking for some redemption on this last day, and still up there in a good spot. It's staying single file, hoping that there's people in front of me that are willing to keep it fast. And if it gets really slow, I would be willing to go to the front and pull for a little bit to help keep the speed up. Quite a few people come past on the left side here. This corner, there's a lot of people who would try to take the inside and like start entering it too early and then have a really bad angle of attack and have to like slam on their brakes. And that was just not a good corner to be slamming brakes in, because you then lost all your momentum going into the uphill side. So I actually was having a lot of success just dropping around the outside. I found that I could get around without touching my brakes more often. So coming up into 1 to go, I see people at the front animating. I'm just trying to get more spots back here once we get into that last lap. And these 3 guys have a little gap, and I see the guy on the right going, and I tried to move over to his wheel, and there's a guy, he gave me a pretty good bump, and he wanted to keep that wheel. The guy came over in front of me actually, but he had the inside on the corner, so he got that wheel, which that was fine. I think there's 5 guys in front of me, which I think is a pretty good spot. You definitely don't want to be, I didn't think you wanted to be first to that last corner for a field sprint, but everybody sits up a little bit here, and one guy in the Roval kick goes and nobody covers it, and these guys are just sitting up, and if I turn the volume up you could hear me yelling at them to get out of the way if they're not going to race. So they split. I go through the opening and I hit it pretty hard here to get back up to speed. Luckily this guy was coming up on the left side and I saw him coming up, so I was able to get on his wheel and get a little bit of a draft here. Got to take these corners without even thinking about touching my brakes, because we were, first 2 wheels in the field here. And I knew once we came out of this corner, I was just going to have to empty it for like 20 or 25 seconds to get to the line. And so I stay behind him for a second, and now my momentum starts to carry me into him, and I go around. It's kind of early. I'm expecting at least a couple guys to come past me. So nobody did right away. So I was like feeling pretty good. There goes one guy, still had the podium hopes, and here comes another, and nobody else came past me. I was dying at the line, but held on for 4th, which I was really excited about. That's definitely like the best result that I've had in a big like national type field recently. So pretty great way to end the weekend. So I'll put together some videos from the other races too, but just wanted to share this one with you. So thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more videos.